Call to order the Common Council meeting for Monday, November 17th, 2025. Roll call, please. Okay, let the record reflect the quorum is present and the gentleman from the 5th is excused. At this time, I will ask everyone to please stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting held November 3rd, 2025?
So moved. Second, Mr. Mayor.
Any changes or corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Yeah. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Please continue.
We have 29 citizen comments.
So just for everyone's, we have 29 citizen comments. Each citizen is allowed 3 minutes to speak. When the clerk calls your name, if you could please come up to the podium here, state your name and home address for the record. We do have a time limit of 60 minutes. If we exceed that time limit by a majority vote of the council, they can extend that in increments of 30 minutes. Until we get through all the speakers. So just want to give everybody a heads up on how this will run tonight. Please continue.
Elisha Riley.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Looks like we have a full house tonight. I'm just really glad to see so many Kenoshans here. Just trying to keep the...
Excuse me, Elisha. State your name and address.
Absolutely. My name is Elisha Riley, 11075 Mile Road, Racine. So I want to start off with what I think is a rather meaningful endeavor, is keeping Kenosha colorful. Artwork installations, they really mean a great deal to me. From 2020 to today, I've been incredibly fortunate to have been involved in a few meaningful projects. The banners just outside on 6th Avenue was work I designed and curated with the Kenosha Business Improvement District. The art installation, The Place of the Pike, that's at the vault right now on the wall, is a project that happened through Rust-Oleum as a sponsor and other contributors. Is another project that I was fortunate enough to be involved with as an assistant painter to Julio Loyola. This is actually Kenosha's largest mural today. And my gratefulness extends to Mayor Bagdala, whom acquainted me with Francisco Loyola to be involved in that said project. He's a really wonderful guy. In years to come, we'll have a new city hall. And I've been working with Adam Larson, a writer and journalist from Kenosha, who proposed a giant mural upon the entrance of the city hall. I've passed my design to Mayor Bagdala and his constituents. And I intend to have a diverse team of artists from various backgrounds here in Kenosha to create that mural. It will be large, but it will be meaningful. It will be unforgettable. This message extends to the broader Kenosha community. If you want to help make this endeavor happen, please let me know. So let's just show Kenosha's colors and keep Kenosha colorful. And I look forward to keeping Kenosha and beautifying Kenosha in more beautiful ways to come. Thank you very much.
I probably should have made one other comment up the top. Please, I would ask everyone, we don't allow cheering or jeering or any commentary during the discussion. We'll get through all of this in a lot more efficient manner if everybody could please respect that as we go through this tonight.
Chris Wykev.
Hi, I'm Chris Weicker, 4632 Back 9 Drive, Racine. We've got the Racine contingent today, but I'm here tonight to talk to you on behalf of the Kenosha Achievement Center at 1218 79th Street. Kenosha has been providing an array of services for people in Kenosha for more than 61 years. Our mission is to create opportunities for the personal growth and success of people with special needs, and we do that by changing perceptions, removing barriers, and building confidence. Now, I promise it won't be a long history lesson. Back in the early 1970s, KAC and the city teamed up to provide public transit rides for the elderly and people living with disabilities who weren't able to use the city bus. The FTA mandates this parallel service wherever there is a city bus available, and that service is called paratransit. Now, I know you've all seen KAC's little buses running all around Kenosha with our green logo. And I'm honored and I'm really proud that KAC has played such an important role in delivering paratransit services here in Kenosha for more than 50 years. Now, what most people don't realize is that Caravan provides more than just the paratransit service. And I'm telling you this for a very specific reason. Tonight on your agenda, you're going to be asked to approve a contract for a new paratransit provider. And I just want to assure everyone that Caravan is not going away. KAC remains committed to our customers. We are excited about the new opportunities that we can offer that will enhance the lives of elders and people with disabilities throughout Kenosha. So it's the first time, one door closes and another door opens, but we are super proud to have been in this since paratransit began. And now it's time for our next chapter to see what we can do next for this community. Thank you.
Ryan Kordecki.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Kordecki. I live at 7620 30th Avenue. I'm here today to talk about the data center, like many others who are here. So I want to preface by saying that I have been a lifelong Kenosha resident for the 25 years I have been alive. I am a little over 4 years into my career as a fire protection inspector and technician. And I am very shocked that the data center in Kenosha was even being considered. Similar to the majority of community members, obviously, with all the internet traffic going on. I'm sure you guys are well aware of that. I do not want this data center mainly because I do not want the cost of living to increase any more than it already has. My water pressure is great. My electricity bill is fairly low, given the state of things recently. I deal with water pressure every day when I inspect fire sprinkler systems. Some municipalities have lower water pressure, some municipalities have higher pressure. Now, with that said, I understand that this data center is going to utilize air cooling, or so they say, but any switch or any kind of cooling to future data centers would create a drop in water pressure, as we've seen on multiple other occasions where data centers were built. And this would ultimately create a safety concern on fire sprinkler systems. These systems are specifically designed to operate at the city pressure or current pressure of those local municipalities. Not only would it be a concern for private citizens, as we've seen in other data centers where they lose water pressure in their sinks, their showers, all that, it would also be a safety concern. So we already have multiple points of evidence as to why these data centers are essentially a parasite to local residents in the communities. Homes and businesses within the communities would obviously lose water pressure. The cost of electricity would increase because if you know anything about computers, they take drastic electricity consumption, especially with higher processors and everything of that sort. When you have more demand for a product, it causes a need for more production of said product. More production requires the money to get the production off the ground and going.
Ryan, you have 30 seconds.
Where does that money come from? That money comes from the consumer. They raise the prices on this product so they can pay for and cover the increased production. I don't need to explain business economics to you. It drives the cost up for the community and almost always leads to increased poverty. People who are struggling to pay their bills as it is will most definitely have an issue paying their utility prices. I understand I only
Your
have 3
time
minutes.
is up.
Thank you for your time.
Folks, I'm gonna please ask again, please, let's be respectful. I don't want to, let's just keep this, we have a great conversation here going. Let's just let the people make their comments without any applause or any other commentary. I would greatly appreciate that.
Nick Proruk.
Nick Prorock, 8858 Sheridan Road. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, alderpersons, for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here to speak against the data center. I'm here to say out loud what many people already know about data centers. They make terrible neighbors. They burden their communities with environmental, physical, psychological, and financial stresses. Please don't let big tech spoil our home. Let's listen to the people who already live near data centers. Take Carlos Llanes from Virginia, who lives in a neighborhood that was invaded by data centers. Carlos and his neighbors are subjected to light pollution and a constant visceral hum, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. His windows literally vibrate from the sound of these rooftop cooling systems. The noise is so intrusive that Carlos was forced to move his family into his basement to try to escape. And his story isn't isolated. Data centers across the United States have waged war against neighborhoods, intruding on communities' way of life with constant light pollution, the smell of diesel fumes from backup generators, and a noise so intense you can't even hear the birds anymore. All across the U.S., our neighbors have reported these issues, and the data centers do not care. Their response, it's not illegal, so we won't fix it. This is a stance that Microsoft will take here. How are you ensuring the health and the well-being of Kenoshans if the data center causes us harm? Microsoft says they have a water-friendly, closed-loop water cooling system. The reality is that they will take Lake Michigan water, intentionally dump in toxins and forever chemicals, and when it leaks, not if, but when it leaks, those chemicals will persist in Lake Michigan and our drinking water forever. How will you monitor the potential water contamination and hold Microsoft accountable? Data centers won't just reduce our quality of life, it'll drain our pocketbooks and cost each one of us thousands and some of us hundreds of thousands of dollars. When you live near a data center, the constant lights, the smell of diesel exhaust, and the noise pollution all contribute to lowering property values. People's electricity bills have skyrocketed because of the insane amount of electricity that is being used by data centers. Microsoft said that a renewable energy plant will be built to cover the data center's usage 1-for-1. If Microsoft can just have a renewable power plant built, why shouldn't the power plant create surplus energy that will drive prices lower for our community? How are you guaranteeing that Kenoshans will benefit directly from renewable energy initiatives?
Nick, you have 30 seconds.
Even Microsoft's own lawyer, Lindsay Stone, has acknowledged plainly that she would not want a data center in her backyard. She admitted that, once operational, there is not a lot of community benefit from having a data center in your backyard. We need to say no, and we need to say no now to data centers. For the welfare of your citizens and the future of Kenosha, I ask that you do all you can do to stop the data center from being built here in Kenosha. Thank you.
Angie Aker.
Angie Aker, 1057 58th Court, Apartment 103, Kenosha. The Microsoft data center. Why is it being fast-tracked and without adequate transparency with the public? I apologize that I have not been plugged in enough to local goings-on lately to have heard about this before last week. However, I would wager that the majority of Kenoshans are in that same boat, and they don't matriculate in the inner circles where this has been discussed and some of the obscure places where this information may have been posted. But now that we do know, thanks to the work of community members who spread awareness, I and a lot of other Kenoshans clearly have concerns. Fast-tracking this data center without the chance to perform due diligence is a dangerous and reckless precedent to set. It tells the tech world, Kenosha won't ask you any questions or fight you. Let's plan to put our next one there too. The public deserves information and the time to share it and research and understand it before we agree to host a site that has such huge potential drawbacks. We do have to worry about our personal utility bills going up as an unspoken subsidy. Utility bills increased an average of 8% nationwide due to data centers, and in some places like Northern Virginia, ratepayers are now paying 25% more than they were before the data center moved in. We do also have the responsibility to consider what it's going to mean for our Great Lake, Michigan. Closed loop or not, there are still potential risks, and once we're in for the penny, we are in for the pound, whatever that entails. I'm not convinced it's going to provide the number or quality of jobs promised in order to be a net positive. I'm worried that, in fact, this will be a net negative for our city and for our ratepayers. We have a responsibility to do better than just saying yes to this with no questions asked. I ask that you rescind any permitting and pause on approving it until Kenoshans can more deeply inspect this proposal. And then I propose you put this matter as a special referendum vote for the citizens. It's the right thing to do, it's the responsible thing to do, and I think everybody knows it.
Megan Johnson.
Hi, Megan Johnson, 7843 31st Avenue. I'm really glad that you went right before me because I'm going to talk about voting. While there are going to be a lot of citizens who voice their opinions on the data center tonight, I think it's important that we look into the future and benefits of the current climate that we find ourselves in right now. I think that the solution would benefit everyone in Kenosha to vote on data centers, current and future, before they are approved without our consent. I would like to propose the council to pass legislation that would require all future and current data center openings to be voted on by the citizens before the projects are allowed to begin. I think these would be beneficial for a few reasons. One, transparency. Transparency benefits both the constituents and the politicians of a municipality. For the constituents, they will hear about any proposed projects and will be able to make informed decisions on whether or not to allow data centers in their county, giving us a choice in data center projects that will directly impact us and future generations. It also benefits you guys by being able to avoid any accusations of corruption or potential conspiracy, and to avoid having to take on large crowds like this of upset citizens. It should also go without saying that transparency builds trust, which brings me to my second point. Allowing the citizens to have a say in such a large project that will directly impact their lives and the lives of generations to follow is imperative to fostering trust between the local government and the citizens. When there is trust between the two of us, the city will thrive. It also decreases the chance of actual political corruption. And political corruption, I think we can all agree, hurts everyone. And by requiring citizen voting for the data centers, it will largely reduce the chances of not just accusations of corruption, but will reduce the chances of corruption actually taking place. I think I speak for everyone when I say that there are very real concerns for political corruption when highly profitable companies like Microsoft, Google, and Meta are involved. And lastly, allowing citizens to have a say in such important matters in their county will empower them to become educated on their community and matters happening inside of it. I firmly believe this will inspire us to educate ourselves on these local issues.
Megan, you have 30 seconds.
And create tighter bond with our neighbors. In a world that furthers division every day, let Kenosha set an example for how we can come together as a community to make informed decisions that benefit not just the few, but the many. Thank you.
Olivia Wallen.
Olivia Walker, 7029 35th Avenue Upper. Before I begin, I would like to make it abundantly clear that I did not use AI to write any of my speech, nor conduct any research regarding this matter. I have never voluntarily used any form of generative AI. Good evening. My name is Olivia Walker, and tonight I wanted to speak about the Microsoft AI data center that's planned for the city of Kenosha. Over the past 2 weeks, news of this data center has spread rapidly throughout Kenosha, and many residents have made it clear that they do not welcome it. I imagine that by now, all of the city officials in the room are well aware of the concerns raised by residents regarding the environmental and economic impacts this facility may have. While I share those concerns, I would like to focus on the lack of accessible information provided by the city and Microsoft regarding the Kenosha AI data center. It has been incredibly difficult for myself and other Kenoshans to find reliable information pertaining to the Kenosha facilities. Due to this, I accidentally gave incorrect information about water usage in a video I posted across social media last week. I would like to apologize for my error. However, this goes to show that there has been very little concrete information or plans regarding the Kenosha Center released to the public. I find that to be inexcusable. The city has claimed full transparency surrounding this issue, but have done so in the quietest way possible. Sure, concerned residents can sift through past Common Council agendas and videos to find information, as I've begun doing, but that is incredibly time-consuming, not to mention that the legal language used in these meetings may be difficult for some to understand. Part of the city's due diligence should be providing easy access to information, and I am calling on officials to release a comprehensive fact sheet, ideally in partnership with Microsoft, that contains straightforward facts and plans related to the Kenosha AI data center. Kenoshans deserve more than evasive, go-around responses given by Mayor Bogdola last week in his email to residents in his TMJ4 interview. We keep hearing from officials that they and Microsoft have done their due diligence to ensure this facility operates safely and within regulations. Those regulations should be made clear to the public. I, along with other residents, are finding it difficult to put our trust into these unspoken parameters, and therefore our trust in city officials, the Kenosha Water Utility, We Energies, and Microsoft. These entities already struggle to maintain community trust. We regularly have water quality alerts at city beaches, so there goes trust in KWU. We Energies is a monopoly whose primary interest is making money, not doing what's best for their customers, so there goes trust in them. Microsoft has done their best to hide their water and power usage at data centers to the point where the city of Racine had to be sued in order for residents to know how much water the Mount Pleasant facilities would be using. If a company is forcing the towns they occupy to sign NDAs, they are not giving us any reason to trust them. Ultimately, I hope that city officials will consider delaying construction of the facility and make sure that an AI data center is really in the best interest of the community. New research comes out every month regarding the adverse effects data centers can have.
Olivia, you have 30 seconds.
Thank you. The adverse effects data centers can have on the environment, raising more and more concerns on the long-term damages these centers may impart. I would encourage city officials to take the time to seriously consider these new findings that were not yet published when this plan was agreed upon. It would be grossly negligent to ignore the new information and carry on with something that could have a hugely detrimental impact on our community. Thank you for your time.
Jacob Hudak.
Jacob Hudak, 3013 29th Street. I'm calling on City Council to put an immediate halt to this project. Others tonight have discussed the environmental impacts and the social impacts. We currently see that there's an AI bubble driven by the promise of replacing workers, even as these companies come to our cities and towns telling us that they're going to be creating jobs for our local economies. The calculus of this doesn't add up. Are we supposed to eat data? Am I supposed to pay my student loans with data? When my landlord comes to collect rent, should I direct them towards the nearest data center? Maybe AI will allow us to be more productive, more prosperous, and allow us to spend more time with our families. But I see the more likely outcome is that these firms will externalize costs onto us while keeping the profits for themselves. In return, we get AI slop and technology that no one asked for being forced onto every device we own. Big tech is jamming these projects down the community's throats before anyone can fully understand the impacts. But AI slop is not the most nefarious impact of these data centers. Microsoft has partnerships with companies like Flock and Axon and Palantir. These companies collect data on license plates to track where people are going. They collect even more invasive personal information, such as our date of birth, our names, social security numbers, addresses, phone numbers, employment history, familial relationships, bank transactions, and credit reports. And these concerns are not theoretical. Microsoft's Azure platform has been utilized in the occupied Palestinian territories to create a surveillance system used to deny people of their most basic freedoms. An Israeli colonel described this technology as, quote, a weapon in every sense of the word. Despite being a clear violation of Microsoft's term of service, employees who protested Microsoft's complacency and genocide were punished for speaking out. Is this the type of company culture that we want in our city? To be clear, I'm not a Luddite. It is very possible that AI is the next informational industrial revolution. But if this is the case, it is imperative that this technology remains in the hands of people who will use it for the betterment of mankind, not evil corporations who will weaponize it against us for a quick buck. For that reason, I call on this council to put an immediate and permanent halt to this project. Thank you.
Sarah Rangel.
Hello, my name is Sarah Rangel. I live at 4108 81st Street. And I wrote this letter, which was published yesterday in Voice of the People in the Kenosha newspaper, and I'm expressing my opinion again to say I am a concerned citizen, deeply troubled by the escalating crisis of homelessness in our community. There's a growing number of people with nowhere to sleep or simply exist without fear of punishment. The city of Kenosha needs more initiatives that provide safe shelter and resources. The Shalom Center does a wonderful job of providing shelter and services to the homeless. However, there are simply not enough beds at the Shalom Center to accommodate all who seek shelter. When I see a homeless person outside in the cold weather, I feel completely helpless because I have nowhere to direct him or her for shelter. It's also very heartbreaking to see individuals and families forced to live in their cars, which have become makeshift homes, not by choice, but out of necessity. Yet parking their vehicles overnight in parking lots is illegal. Seasonal closure of public restrooms also increases hardship for people experiencing homelessness. It's not just a matter of dignity, it's a matter of public health, and also places an unfair burden on our police officers, forcing them to respond to situations that stem from systematic neglect rather than criminal intent. Therefore, I encourage residents to contact their local representatives to advocate for the prioritization of establishing a nightly shelter before winter arrives.
Sarah, you have 30 seconds.
Reopening, maintaining public restrooms year-round, installing portable toilets, creating safe zones where people can sleep without fear of arrest, and expanding access to supportive services and housing assistant constituents. Thank you.
David Gonzalez.
Hi, my name is David Gonzalez. I live at 1705 28th Street, Kenosha, Wisconsin. I just want to say hello. Thank you for coming, hearing our concerns today. I just want to bring a few facts about the data center that has been coming in relation to other ones that have been built in Texas and Kentucky. A couple in Kentucky have brought to 300,000 homes where people just cannot pay for their service for their powers on MSN. A couple people were just asked, hey, can you pay for power? Nope. Can you pay for water? Nope. So they're moving. How are we going to afford that for Kenosha if we bring this here? The amount of jobs that this is bringing for construction, yeah, sure, that'll bring stuff. But in terms of powering it, there's a 500,000 square foot one in Texas, Arlington, I believe, that's just being powered by 100 people right now. That's not bringing anything. Why is that bringing anything to us? As well as how is this going to help with our environmental impact? We love our Great Lake here. We love it up in the north. We love it up here. I was up just north the other day just going, I love this lake. I wanted to keep it. I want my children to see this. But if it's going to keep at this if we bring services like this, it's just, I don't believe it's going to bring that. There's such a toxic sludge that is being brought here from the other service centers that cannot just be transport. It can't it just brings stuff into the soil, our great water. It's just as much as there is as much as there is going to be produced, there's no way to get rid of it. And where are we going to put it? That's my real question, all of you. How are we going to deal with this in the future? So that's all I really have. Thank you.
John Lieber.
All right. Good evening. Thank you. for your time. Thank you for letting me speak. My name is John Lieber. I live at 5325 63rd Street, and I'm here to talk about the data center. I'm speaking tonight to express my opposition to the Microsoft data center Kenosha is planning that will be located near Mars Cheese Castle. I object to the increased electricity usage that will come from this facility and how that will drive up our electricity rates. Just a couple of years ago, we received text from We Energies to turn our thermostats back because natural gas supply was low. I do not think we are in any position to be increasing our electricity demand, especially when natural gas generation plants are a large part of energy production. I am concerned with what kind of contract Microsoft has with the city. As far as I know, they will be paying no taxes on electricity usage or tax on equipment. I would think that a corporation that makes $101.8 billion in profits per year could have afforded Kenosha taxes. Are they paying property taxes? If so, does the property tax that they are paying offset these giveaways and tax breaks we are giving them, and the farmland that we are giving up? I understand that according to Microsoft, at most, 80 permanent jobs will be created, but I do not want us to be performing these huge corporate giveaways just for them to create at most 80 jobs, because that is not in the best interest of Kenosha residents. For the amount of tax breaks and incentives we are giving them, would that money not be better spent in other ways that would create the same or more jobs? In short, Kenosha is not getting more back from this deal than we are giving away. I've heard AI data center proponents claim that AI data centers are an inevitability, and that we should get on board. The stated purpose of AI creators, that is the heads of Microsoft, Oracle, Amazon, etc., is to replace jobs with AI. Whether this is inevitable or not, I do not know. But I'm never going to be okay with collaborating with something harmful just because it is inevitable. We have already watched the negative consequences of smartphones on the attention span of our children. I do not think the net effect of AI will be good on critical thinking skills of children nor adults in the long term. AI has already negatively impacted their education in our schools and universities. Additionally, I don't know if it's a priority for you, but building AI data centers will inarguably raise our carbon footprint in a time when we should be lowering our emissions to combat climate change. Microsoft and other AI companies are not being transparent about how their closed loop system works and
John,
the
you
potential
have 30 seconds.
the potential malfunctions it could have. The fact is, we don't know whether it's going to pollute our groundwater in Lake Michigan because they're not being upfront about the data and the science. I'm not going to take Microsoft's word for it when they have nothing to back up their claims of safety for Kenosha's ecosystem. We don't know what we don't know, and they are not sharing. We thank you for your time, taking the time to listen, and I hope you'll be able to do whatever you can to stop this data center from happening in Kenosha. Thank you.
Jamie Burns.
Hi, my name is Jamie Burns, 7722 16th Avenue. I have been a resident of Kenosha my entire life, 31 years. My family has been here for generations. You asked for respect from us, and we ask for the same amount of respect, and listen to us. The statement that this data center will create jobs is nothing but a blatant lie. We know the facts. We know the statistics on it. They will not create large, permanent jobs. Sure, construction jobs, temporarily. They have one of the worst rates of jobs created per square footage. These places require massive amounts of electricity. You've already heard it, and I will repeat these things over and over until each and every one of you listens to what we are saying. There's already places nearby that have data centers, and the community's electricity bills are double, triple, even quadruple. In this economy right now, Kenoshans cannot afford that. Also, by taking all of our electricity, we are risking power outages. Does anybody familiar with Texas and their huge power grid problems? Do we want that here? Do we want to possibly kill people because we lose electricity? That is not okay. Kenoshans did not ask for this. This was done very secretly and deceptively. This was not transparent at all. And as you can see, and as the petition online has shown, we did not ask for this, nor do we want this data center here. Kenosha will not be test subjects for data centers. We do not have all of the data, we do not have all of the facts out of what this will do to our community, and we will not be guinea pigs. These centers are nothing but parasites. From what we know, they're nothing but parasites. They take, and give nothing back to the community. And like a parasite, once they have drained us of all of our resources, they will leave. I, again, urge each and every one of you to listen to us and what we are saying and put a stop to any construction of this data center, now and in the future. Any person that supports this data center and continues to support any construction of it is a traitor to Kenoshans. And we will remember this next election, and we will vote each and every one of you that supports this out. Thank you.
Folks, please, just asking very, very politely.
Alex Eller.
Alexandra Aller, 4525 Fifth Avenue, Kenosha, Wisconsin. 2 weeks ago, I attended the Common Council meeting and voiced concerns over the Microsoft data center. I posted a video that went viral, and there was an overwhelming amount of unanimous support and countless comments repeating the same phrase. I had no idea. Though the Microsoft data center has already purchased the land and it has already been zoned to become a data center, the people are now aware of the data center. There's a petition with over 20,000 or nearly 20,000 signatures calling for the data center not to be built. There's a community organization forming to try to stop it from opening. And today, if you look around this room, there are dozens of people here today asking you that you reconsider and relook at this project and delay it until the community has a better understanding of what it means for us economically and environmentally. But the problem is we don't fully know that yet. In an article posted by The Guardian, it said researchers in recent years have been alarmed by the ever-growing level of TFAT in the air, water, human blood, and elsewhere in the environment. The rapid rise has been connected to the growing data center industry. There are dozens of communities all around the Great Lakes and the country fighting data centers from opening in their towns, and a push to delay until we know what they really mean. This has been transcending political parties. People are coming together on this issue. We are one town standing among many with the same message. I know you have done due diligence and have been doing the best you can to operate with the information that was present before. And now I ask you to do the same with the new information and the new concerns that are present today. We don't know enough about AI to know if it's a sustainable industry and if it leaves us with industrial wastelands, or we don't know to the lengths of which it will expand to use up more resources. We do know, however, that positioned near the Great Lakes, they are in the position to easily do so. We are here because we care about this town, our homes, our environment, and the future generations of Kenosha. Today, I ask you to reconsider this data center, to delay its opening, and allow the people to vote for it. Thank you.
Cassie Oscar.
Good evening. I just want to clarify, I'm not shouting at you guys. It's just really hard to hear everybody up here from the back where I was sitting. My name is Cassie Oscar. My address is 4618 Fifth Avenue, Kenosha. I was born and raised in Kenosha. I currently reside in the downtown. My house overlooks the beautiful Lake Michigan. My biggest concern with the AI data center is that its plan to open in Kenosha is going to impact our environment and our natural resources like fresh water access. There's been a lot of questions regarding how much energy and water is going to be used, but not a lot of answers. If the city government wants us to trust them in their decision-making for allowing Microsoft to plant its roots in our cities, they need to allow the appropriate level of transparency along with holding Microsoft accountable for their promises. When our group of concerned citizens met to discuss these concerns about the data center, This past Saturday, it was mentioned that during a meeting with our mayor, he explained that Microsoft had a intention to invest in green energy resources like solar and wind power to help eventually offset some of the electricity and water usage. It is easy for a company to say that, but can we trust that it'll actually come to fruition? Is there a plan in place to develop these power resources? Is there a timeline of when this can be expected? And is there contractual obligation to see that this is done? In Wisconsin, there are currently 5 data centers proposed across the state, and only 2 of them, Mount Pleasant and Port Washington, have released their projected energy and water usage levels to the public. I understand that the city council may know those numbers, but again, transparency builds trust in the communities, and we as citizens have a right to know the potential dangers to our environment, along with the potential increase in our ever-growing energy bills. Carbon emissions. Harvard University reported that U.S. data centers produce 105 million tons of CO2 equivalent gases in just the past year, with carbon intensity of 48%, higher than the national average, making up 2.18% of national carbon emissions alone last year. If the data center moves forward and is built, who is holding Microsoft accountable to make sure that our city doesn't become the next victim of a mass pollution event or buried under the weight of hiked expenses like the degradation of property values and energy bills? Microsoft, again, private company, who will require the city to, will the city require a third-party environmental protection agency to do regular audits on their center? Will they be monitored at all? I understand that a closed-loop water system will be functioning in the Kenosha data center, but there are studies that are already coming out as recent as September and October that show that
Cassie, you
PFAS
have 30 seconds.
are being released into the air. I'm going to skip ahead. Some of the concerns, people are going to mention the Guardian article, tons of different health concerns. But one of my concerns as a psychology student is the chemicals can pass through the placenta and accumulate in fetuses' brains, causing an array of birth defects, miscarriages, and fetal deaths. In terms of mental health conditions caused by these pollutants and subsequent neurotoxicity, it is linked to MDD, ADHD, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease. They all have common components that are present in PFAS and neurotoxicity studies. It is increase in oxidative stress and calcium, as well as changes to the neurotransmitter levels and
Your
behavior.
time is up.
If I could have 2 seconds. In closing, I understand that the money from these companies are enticing. I understand that the money could be used to help improve other areas that are underfunded in our communities. But the AI Center is not the answer. The potential impacts on our environment, the health of our community, and the taxpayers' pockets is far too grave of a price to pay. I urge you to say no to the data center, but at the very least, delay its development until more research can be done, more transparency can be provided, and we can guarantee the safety of our community. Thank you.
I'm sorry, folks, I'm going to say this one last time. If we can't have order, I'm going to ask people to leave. We're sitting here listening to all of you. Many of us are taking notes. I'm asking you very politely, please, one last time. Otherwise, I'm going to ask people to leave, or we're going to stop the debate. Please. Thank you.
Josh Byron.
Josh Barong, 7724 17th Avenue, Kenosha. I'd like to thank the alders for your time and all the service that you guys do. I'd also like to thank you for already approving this facility. On behalf of all of the men and women of the UA who install these systems and maintain these systems, we know that they are safe and that they are efficient. And we have a lot of faith and pride in what we do. Our men and women have years of training and on-the-job training, as well as certifications that ensure that these systems operate efficiently and safely. We know that these facilities do bring long-sustaining jobs due to the work that our men and women do to maintain these buildings and these facilities to make sure that they operate at peak efficiency. Our members are grateful for the opportunity that we have to work on this project, and we look forward to it continuing on. Thank you.
Mary Zorn.
My name is Mary Zorn. I live at 923 70th Street. This week is National Homeless and Hunger Awareness Week. I don't know who's aware, but I'm here to make you aware. Kenosha is facing an increasing crisis of homelessness. If you don't know this, please look around, because it's true. We are not housing our youngest people. We are not housing our disabled. We are not housing people who have mental health issues. There is no emergency shelter in Kenosha. More people are becoming homeless because of the lack of affordable housing. This is something I think you all need to address. And I just want to say, there's no emergency shelter, but I just want to leave you with this. If you do nothing else tonight, these are the colors. When you see these, and when you think about things tonight as you go to sleep in your warm beds, please, please remember those people that went to bed hungry or malnourished and who went to bed in a park bench where they're going to get kicked off, or behind a building, or on somewhere, a porta potty, if they found a place. Please remember those people that are unhoused or that will be walking around all night so that they do not freeze to death. And no, it's not below freezing, but you can freeze to death in these temperatures. Thank you very much.
Donald Williams.
How you doing? My name is Donald Williams. My address is 1922 53rd Street. I'm here to talk about the homelessness that's going on in Kenosha, Wisconsin. It's real bad, and it's at an all-time high. The reason I can speak on it because I've been there, and I've been through these streets, and it's not safe for nobody that's with kids, people with mental illness. There's no place for nobody to go at nighttime. There's nowhere for nobody to sleep. So all these buildings that you guys are tearing down and closing down, you could turn into shelters for people to have somewhere to stay, take showers, feel safe at night. But instead, you guys tear it down, and you guys have the money to do it. So what I'm asking, and asking y'all to look into, be mindful of the ones that's out here with kids and these babies sleeping on the streets with their moms and dads in their cars. So with that, I'll rest my case. Thank you.
David Ulrich.
David Ulrich, 3944 Taft Road in Kenosha, Wisconsin. 10 years ago, Microsoft began a pilot program off the coast of Scotland, testing underwater data centers that were powered entirely by renewable energy. What they found is not only that these underwater data centers worked, they also worked more efficiently. In this test, only 6 servers failed, while 8 servers failed at similar land-based models. In other words, this test had a better result and had less negative environmental impact. So why aren't they pursuing this as an option? Because building on land is cheaper. Microsoft building data centers here will be subsidized by our energy bills, will be done in a way that allows it to move more quickly, to function more quickly. But ultimately, they already have the technology that can do this in a renewable and energy positive way, and yet they are choosing not to do it in order to make a profit. The city of Kenosha has an option here to hold our ground and insist that Microsoft do the right thing, not just for Kenosha, but for all of humanity. Over the long haul, we can insist that these projects are done in energy renewable ways that make a positive impact on our world and don't just rush for the greatest profit. Thank you.
Kelly Foglio.
Hi, my name's Kelly Foglio. I'm at 8806 65th Street in Kenosha, and thank you for your time. My background is in process systems and manufacturing and biochemistry. I am here to speak in opposition of the data center, and also I had no idea either, as some had stated before. On the topic of water, like was said previously, what the process looks like and what they're planning on doing was very hard to find any information on. So I kind of wrote a little bit on each of those things. If it's a closed system, leaks are inevitable, and that coolant goes into the air, soil, and water table. stays around for hundreds, if not thousands of years. These are forever chemicals. They're also teratogens, which is, in layman's term, cancer-causing. So if you were to have a baby and these are in the water that you're drinking, that could affect genetics. If it is an open system and water was to go back to the lake, that would be warmer. That would also upset valuable ecosystems, including our fisheries, which are so important to Wisconsinites. Either way, it's a flawed system that affects us all. Speaking on electricity bills of residents, which has been brought up, we foot the bill for infrastructure, not Microsoft, to my knowledge. Recently, Bloomberg put out an article stating that 267% increase could be seen for residents in their electric bills. All residents you represent are looking for stewardship of our wallets. No one can or should afford this. It's their bill. Jobs are trivial in number. I do know a friend of mine that's working up at the Mount Pleasant one. He's from Illinois, so not necessarily Wisconsin jobs. And then after the building is complete, there are a few jobs remaining, and those are not necessarily guaranteed for Kenoshans and not worth the offset for what we're getting. Lastly, I wholeheartedly agree that a vote is needed. Thank you.
Kina Didur. Quina.
Hello, everyone. My name is Quinn Didier. I live at 3709 East Carsons Drive. I'm in Madison, and I drove all the way from Madison because I believe that building this AI data center will have ramifications for the entire state, both of Wisconsin and Illinois. Let's be very clear. The reason they are trying to put this in Kenosha, Wisconsin, the reason they've been so quiet about this is because were the greater Chicago and Milwaukee area to hear about this project, there would be outrage, there would be outcry. There is a reason that they are creeping in, trying to keep this hush-hush. Let me repeat some facts that have been emphatically told to you again. A mid-sized data center can consume 110 million gallons of fresh water, while a larger center can consume 1.8 billion. These are horrific numbers. And you know what? I started doing the math to figure out how much water the citizens of Kenosha consume, but honestly, it doesn't matter because AI centers do not provide the utility to justify the resources that they take. Nothing that they can provide is more important than the citizens' access to bills they can pay, food they can eat, air they can breathe, water they can drink. Nothing can justify that, and all of you are the very thin line of defense between us and a project that could change the precedent of this technology forever. 3% of the world's surface water is fresh, drinkable water. And Kenosha is next to the Great Lakes. This is our crown jewel of fresh water resources in America. This is 21% of the world's fresh water reserve. This is 84% of the nation's fresh water reserve. That is not something that we can hand over to an amoral company to torch. So all that said, if you like breathing air, eating food, and not having asthma, I would urge you to reconsider this project. Thank you so much.
Hazel Rasmussen.
Hello, my name is Hazel Rasmussen. I live at 6335 26th Avenue in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I was born and raised here. My family's here. I didn't come prepared. I actually just learned that this was even in the works last Thursday, so about 4 days ago. I wish I had more to prepare. But you guys heard all the facts from everybody. It's clear that we do not want this here. We do not need this here. So I urge you guys to really rethink this, really think about the residents that are here, that have been here, that have lived here their whole life. We don't need this. There's so much more that we need than this. You heard about homelessness going on already. It's been here. It's getting worse and worse. We need to do better things and invest in better things than an AI data center. We simply don't need it. We don't want it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Molly Gray Moores.
Molly Gray Moore, 6039 14th Avenue. Today I'm here as a voice for Uptown Community Square. One of my concerns is allowing business in Uptown to have a business license, a liquor license. Uptown have changed tremendously over the 5 years. We have went from being the worst neighborhood to one of the neighborhoods that are making a statement in this city. Our neighborhood do not need any more business with liquor license. I tell you why. We just got a brand new children's library. We are looking forward to the new affordable homes that are going to be built in our neighborhood. If I didn't live in a neighborhood and I heard that they had 5 and 6 different business with liquor license, I wouldn't want to move there, because you have the children's library. Who wants to come outside and see people just hanging out pissy drunk? And my other concern is a lot of these people that own these business in Uptown, they don't live in my neighborhood, but they want our money. So if you want our money, you have to respect us. So I'm here to ask common council. Y'all know me well. We don't need another business with a liquor license. Think about our children's library. We are struggling now to get kids in that library because their parents feel like our neighborhood is an eyesore, but I beg the difference. Over the last 5 years, I'm gonna repeat again, we have made tremendous changes in our neighborhood. So I'm here to ask common council to vote no for any more business to have liquor license in Uptown or Lincoln or the Wilson neighborhood. And for those that think it's okay to do it, take it and move it to where you live. Take it to your district. We don't need it in Uptown. I have enough to deal with just trying to keep it clean. We don't need it. So anybody that think it's okay to put another business with a liquor license, find a spot in your district for them to move to. Because me, as a voice for the people of Uptown Community Square, we don't want it. And if anybody have any questions or concern, I live 6039 14th Avenue.
Emily Dow.
Emily Dow, 6529 87th Avenue. Thank you. Hello, I am a music student at University of Wisconsin-Parkside, and I'm here to speak against the operation of Microsoft's AI data center. As many know, people are worried about the environmental impacts of this data center, and Microsoft has come out to say that they will be operating responsibly. However, as Dan Dioro, VP of State Policy at the Data Center Coalition states, it's a balance between water and electricity. If you use less water, you're going to use more electricity. If you use less electricity, you'll use more water. So basically, it's a lose-lose situation where either our ecosystems will be polluted and taken advantage of, and or our electricity bills will go up. An example being Pittsburgh, Ohio, where people are paying upwards of $10 to $27 more per month. Also, as someone who is going into the arts, I would hate to see our city housing this data center that's taking part in threatening the jobs of creatives. And it's also very depressing being someone who is fighting hard against AI, knowing full well that many students around me and basically everywhere, especially younger kids, are struggling to even write a 5-sentence paragraph without it. I just don't want our city that has so many bright and talented minds being overshadowed and negatively impacted by an AI data center. Thank you.
Erica Ness.
Hello, everybody. My name is Erica Ness. I live at 4416 Taft Road, Kenosha, Wisconsin, Alderman Rose's district. Hello, council members. Hello, Mayor Bagdala. Hello, everybody. I'm here also to speak about the data center. Now, I know that this was voted on quite a few months ago, and I'd just like to reiterate the need to be more communicative with the community, more transparent with the projects that we're voting on, more proactive about getting the word out for these type of projects in advance, right? So that we can talk about it and in a timely manner. But we're all here now. People have heard about it now. Thank you, everybody, for your activism and outreach. Everyone who's here to let people know what's happening, because it's definitely very important that people are involved. A lot of what we're talking about here is, can you hear me? I feel like this is going in and out. Okay, cool. A lot of people are talking about the environmental impact. We know, we've seen data centers are showing again and again all over the country to have negative impacts. This one is supposed to be better. Like, having less of a bad thing is still bad, even if it's less polluting, less water. It's still going to be a lot of water. It's still going to be a lot of polluting. Like, that is what data centers do, right? And that I don't think that that is worth the number of jobs that we're looking at creating. I don't think that that, again, temporary, again, a few security guards, a few technology professionals, not enough to make it worth, I don't think anything would be enough to make it worth the environmental impact, but definitely not this, right? And I think that even if Microsoft has promised to be more environmentally friendly, better, responsible for our community, we've seen companies break these promises. We've had projects even in Kenosha that when they get approved, there's all these ideas about things being affordable, things being eco-friendly, et cetera, et cetera. And then later, oh, well, that was too difficult. Oh, that was too expensive. And I don't think that putting our trust in this corporation is wise, and making this like grand plan that things are gonna be fine, eco-friendly, and then down the line, I think that we know that that's not gonna be the case. I also really just want to see us dream bigger for Kenosha. I know a lot of you. I know that you have really big dreams for Kenosha. I know that you work really hard for our community, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. And I know that there's a lot of really awesome like ideas and projects, and it's a lot more difficult than it seems. But this is a city.
30 seconds.
Thank you so much. This is a city that was founded on people like you, of all like education backgrounds, all backgrounds, using their hands, manufacturing, using their brains, and I think that we're so much better than a data center. We can do so many more wonderful things with our future, and we're working on more wonderful things for our future. This is not the future for Kenosha. We don't need to be a place that's focused on a warehouse for machines and AI. We need to be a place that engages our community, engages the arts, engages people's minds, and I think that we can really move in that direction, and this is not the way to go. And lastly, I was in a talk
Your time
earlier
is
today.
up.
Okay, stay tuned next time.
We've also reached our 60-minute time limit.
So we have reached that 60-minute time limit. There are still 4 more speakers. In order to continue with public comment, I would need a motion to extend by 30 minutes.
Move to extend by 30 minutes.
We move to second. Thank you, Alderman Kennedy. You did second that. And you did. Motion is to extend by 30 minutes. I think we can do a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Please continue.
Stephen Rosendich.
Hi, Stephen Rosendich with Bear Development, 4011 80th Street. I'm here for the 4800 50th Street items. I just want to say we've had good conversations with planning staff, Alder Kennedy, and we've had a successful neighborhood meeting. Just want to say I'm around for any questions that come up to that. Thanks.
Kara Gerlach.
Hello, everyone, and I wanted to start by thanking our council members that are here today and all of our community members that are here gathered to support the message that I'm also going to speak on. My name is Kara Gerlach. I live at 7308 31st Avenue. I was getting to it. And just like the folks behind me, I'm here to voice concerns regarding the construction of that data center slated for January of 2026. I gathered with over 20 Kenosha residents Saturday morning at our Southwest Community Library, and ultimately we discussed how our goal was to prevent the construction of that data center, or at least to delay its construction until we were able to get more information regarding our concerns and questions. I checked around 4 o'clock today, and the petition circulating online has nearly 20,000 signatures in support of ceasing the data center. A few concerns just to bring up and to echo what others have already said is that we were informed Microsoft was slated to employ about 100 people. The concern we had is that these data centers tend to be staffed really heavily until they're fully operational, and then they're essentially run by a skeleton crew. And it's less beneficial to our community if we don't have a ton of workers at these facilities, of course. There's been a lot of talk about this closed loop cooling system, additionally, that does reduce water consumption at these data centers, but the trade-off is that we have an increased energy bill, right? And you've heard about this all night. These percentage increases vary regionally depending on where you're at. You may have seen that Bloomberg article that was cited on the petition stating that wholesale electricity prices were 267% higher in areas near significant data center activity. We're not sure how much of that's going to be transferred to us as consumers, but as you may know, the average income per capita in Kenosha is around $38,000 a year. We've got 14.4% of our citizens living at or below the poverty line. And ultimately, we're here because we don't know if we can afford those increased energy prices, and we don't know if our environment can handle the strain of the data center. So I ask you to consider hearing our voices tonight and reconsider the construction of that data center for Highway 142. Thank you. Have a good night.
Doug Sinisvet.
Good morning, good evening, Douglas Sinisvet, 2015 87th Place. I'm speaking out today against the development of the Microsoft data center. I do also support the previous speaker's suggestion that the development of data centers in general should be brought to a public referendum. I don't believe that we have enough information about what protections are being put in place to protect this community. The current administration has made a point of announcing its intentions to cut red tape, regulating AI, in favor of its rapid advancement. I believe that this attitude will lead to long-term detriment on the communities that are hosting these centers without any sort of public or local protections. Despite the closed-loop water system, there are no guarantees that the harmful chemicals that they use will not seep their way out and impact us eventually. I'm also skeptical about how much this is going to actually limit the water consumption, because they did pick Kenosha, a Great Lake adjacent town, rather than any other location within Wisconsin. Beyond the environmental impact, I am also concerned that with the high strain that these centers will demand, the high strain that the centers demand will place on our infrastructure, a cost that will be shifted onto the rest of us, while they will not even be obliged to pay taxes on their use. This is all while fueling a business whose product, even at its current processing power, is being marketed as a way to replace a lot of entry-level jobs. The cost seems way too high to justify the creation of a toxic data center that only offers a limited number of full-time positions. Thank you.
Gerald
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gerald Eyre. I live on 6235 7th Avenue, and I'm an engineer working in the water resource sector. Council members, thank you for taking the time tonight to listen to your community. I'd like to start by pointing out that the companies like Microsoft and Meta, who are building and operating these data centers, are often hiding behind shell companies and LLCs. This allows them to hide the impact of their data centers from their own financial and environmental records and reports. This has made it incredibly difficult for reporters and newspapers and community members to determine the true total impacts of these existing data centers. Why should we expect them to be transparent with us or to you, our city council? Especially the fact that they are trying to persuade you, the council, into allowing this project to slide through into our community. You've heard many speakers tonight point out the various issues that come from the data centers, so I'm not going to dig into them. From the health impacts, the environmental impacts, and the social impacts, as well as the possible economic impacts. You've heard of the sustainability triangle, people, profit, and planet. Well, these data centers provide many more negatives than positives in all three categories. A phrase that sticks with me when regarding the prospective jobs that may come out of this is an old adage regarding the future factories. They will be only staffed by one man and a dog. The man to feed the dog, and the dog to keep the man from tinkering. These data centers are projected, especially for this one here in community, to only have maybe 50 to 80 potential jobs, and that's not worth all the potential impacts that are going to come from them. These facilities aren't without risk either. They will be subject to both physical and cyber attacks to their infrastructure. Just a few of these points of failure would be the main power supplies, the chillers and temperature server, or the server temperature controls, and also the data networks and the data inside them themselves. From an economics perspective, we are currently at risk of overbuilding our data center capacity. Many articles are suggesting that we are headed straight for an AI bubble, with many data centers not projecting to break through until about 7 years in, plus their construction costs and timelines, which are generally around 18 to 32 months. I don't believe it's going to be worth it either. So along with our other community members, tonight I encourage the council to improve their zoning laws and review processes, such as providing votes as other members have, or other community members have suggested, to help prevent large-scale and controversial projects from moving through and coming to fruition without the people's involvement and approval. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes the citizen comment portion of tonight's meeting. Please continue.
B, communications, petitions, reports of departments. B1, approval of the following applications. 813 operators licenses. B1, successor of agent status license. C1, special class B beer and/or special class B wine license.
Gentleman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to approve the applications.
Moved and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
C, recommendations from the Committee on Licenses and Permits. C1, application of Yasmin Cruz Lara for a new operator's license.
Gentleman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to approve the application, on C1.
Moved and seconded to approve or to concur with license.
Concur. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Moved and seconded to concur on item C1. At this time, we'll open up to a hearing. Anyone here to speak on item C1, please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone here to speak on C1? C1 is part of our normal agenda. It was just read out. So the applicant is here, if they would like to come forward. Is the applicant on C1 here? Is the applicant here? Seeing none, close the hearing. Motion on the floor is concurrence on item C1. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
C2, application of Blanca Ibarra for a new operator's license.
Gentleman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to concur with the recommendation of license permit to deny based on material police record and false application.
It's been moved and seconded to concur on item C2. At this time, open it up to a hearing. Anyone here to speak on item C2, please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone here to speak? Anyone here to speak? Seeing none, close the hearing. Motion on the floor is concurrence. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Got carried away, everybody.
C3, application of Tina Weiland for a new operator's license.
Ms. Wyland in attendance?
Ms. Tina Weiland, are you here?
Mr. Mayor, I'm one of the ones that voted no on this, so I'm not sure what my motion here would be. I don't think I should make the motion and then vote no against
You
it.
are the chairman of the committee, so I would recommend a motion to concur, but it's up to you.
Make a motion to concur with with the recommendation of license and permit to deny based on material police record and false application.
Okay. Motion on the floor is to concur. At this time, open it up to a hearing. Anyone here speaking item C3, please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone here to speak? Anyone here to speak? Seeing none, close the hearing. Motion on the floor is concurrence. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Nay. One nay.
C4, application of Infocino's Pizzeria South Inc. for a yearly cabaret license located at 6800 39th Avenue with no adverse recommendations from the police department.
Gentleman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to concur with the recommendation of license permit on C4 and C5 after being read in any necessary applicant hearings.
On your laptop, sir?
I thought I pushed it.
Is there a second? Second. Go ahead.
C5, application of Yash Sports Bar LLC for a probationary cabaret license located at 3216 60th Street with no adverse recommendations from the police department.
Okay, at this time, open it up to a hearing. Anyone here to speak on C4 or C5? Please come forward, state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Paresh Patel, address 4924 Sheridan Road, Kenosha. We are at C5 for if you have any question.
You're here on C4, you said, sir?
No, C5.
Oh, C5, thank you. Anything you'd like to add?
No.
Okay, you're just here for questions?
Yep.
Okay, if there are any more, if your questions from the council, we'll call you back up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here to speak on C4 or C5? Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, close the hearing. Motion on the floor is concurrent, C4 and C5. Any discussion?
Yeah,
Gentleman from the 16th.
Yeah, on C5, I voted no on license permits. I'll vote no on that tonight. Thank you.
Okay, we will make that note. Motion on the floor is concurrent, C4 and C5. The gentleman from the 16th will be a no on C5. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
C6, application of Momo's Fresh Market LLC for a new Class A beer, Class A liquor license located at 6212 22nd Avenue to be effective November 18, 2025, with no adverse recommendations from the police department.
Gentleman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to concur with the recommendation of license permit to approve.
Is there a second? Is there a second? Is there a second? Seeing no second, motion dies for lack of a second. Why don't we, well, let me ask this, is there another motion to make? Based on? It's been moved and seconded to deny based on density in the neighborhood. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. I will now open it up to a hearing. At this time, anyone here to speak on item C6, please come forward, state your name and address. 1 second, sir. Okay, go ahead.
Mustafa, 702 Sheridan Road, apartment 205. It's been almost a month going with this application. I understand a lot of people are concerned about this license for this location. As many of you know me already, but for the rest of you, my name is Mustafa. I'm a small real estate developer here in the city of Kenosha. I own several stores prior to this location, and we're growing, and we're looking to open up more locations hopefully in the future, especially in the downtown area. As far as the uptown neighborhood, I understand that there was a lot of problems, especially like, prior to the riots. I was one of the few people that decided to reinvest in the neighborhood of the uptown because we believe in uptown, and we helped each other build an uptown area. This liquor license is not for a liquor store. We do not do business as far like liquor store style. This is a small supermarket that we offer everything for your everyday needs, from hygiene products to fresh produce to dairy products to hot meals. A lot of customers been asking to have liquor in this location so they can finish doing their shoppings all under one roof. We went back and forth about this application. I was advised by the committee if I agreed to accept this license, instead of selling all sizes and all kind of packages and single serving, they offered if I agree to take this license where I can only sell sealed packages and no small containers as far as like half pints, 40 ounces, etc. I believe the neighborhood deserves a small supermarket where we have everything under one roof. A lot of people are concerned, are you gonna stick with your word where you only can sell small containers? Today, I told Mr. Kennedy I'm willing to sign a paper saying that this license will have points, and if we do anything against these points, I mean, the city would have the right to suspend this license or to do whatever further actions. About the neighborhood, I lived in this neighborhood for almost 11 years until I sold my store on 63rd Street. I had a house in the back. Not because I don't live in that neighborhood now, that's mean I'm not part of it. I've been in the uptown area for 25 years, from Lincoln Supermarket to Fonte Foods to uptown area. And I'm very, very involved in this community. And I am very attached with my customers, and my customers really, really look up to me. Me and my girlfriend, we've been doing this for a long time. We earned our respect in the area. We had a lot of our older personnel stopped by to take a look how is this store looking like. And by the way, I want to thank everybody that showed up and showed support. Also, I was advised to call every older person to try to get their votes. Thanks to everyone, whether they said yes or no, but we do have 11 votes yes so far, and they supported our application. I'm here if you have any more questions. I'm more than happy to answer, but please, we're not here just for the money, and our action can witness this.
Okay, if there's any questions from the council, we'll call you, unless you have anything else that you wanted to answer.
No, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. At this time, we'll close the hearing. Lady from the 12th.
Thank you, Your Honor. We've worked hard to clean up the uptown community and to reduce the loitering, and I would hate for that process to be reversed. So while I appreciate the support that Momo's has given to the community by giving back to some of the businesses and some of the community residents, the application, it shows information that was previously overlooked. I mean, it states that Momo's Fresh Market is an LLC, but it doesn't identify the members. And because of this, I'm not sure, because of this, if Mustafa signs a letter promising not to sell certain sizes of alcohol, we can't be sure that he even has the authority to make that promise. And so therefore, because of that, I can't support the motion.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentleman from the second.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was one of the 2 votes on the committee level to, and not in favor of the applicant. And I would just like to ask everybody in their backup documents, if you could go to page 13. On page 13 is a piece of evidence that really stands out to me in my 6 years of service on License and Permits Committee. When you want to get concerned, when you want to talk about the words overconcentrated, if you'll see, there is a yellow mark at the applicant's address, and you'll see very close to it on 22nd Avenue. Open Pantry is located there, and then just a little bit north of that is a Citgo station. If the applicant was approved, that'd be a cluster of 3 places very, very close together, and you will not find a similar cluster of licensed liquor stores on that entire grid. Clearly, that's a concentration issue. I visited the site about 3-4 weeks ago, and I met with Mustafa, because he's there, and he recognized my face, and I was out to just do some legwork. And he does have a nice food store, and you can see letters from the community in support of his presence in the district, but that is as a purveyor of food, as a food provider, a source. And I applaud that. And I know that the applicant also has other options for other businesses across the street. He has 3 places. One was formerly a grill, one was formerly a dispensary, and another one was a barber shop. So he has the tools to diversify and be an asset to that neighborhood. But I also saw inside his food store an immense amount of space devoted for alcohol sales. He's got a very large bank of coolers, almost the length of our chambers, and then shelving across from those coolers. There's going to be a tremendous amount of alcohol in that place. There's a tremendous amount of alcohol in the other 2 locations as well. It's just a bad idea. And it's right next, it's even a half a block from a brand new children's library and the Uptown Lofts. That's a warning sign to me. In all of my years of trying to be vigilant and make good decisions on the License and Permits Committee, I would urge this council. We have a motion, and it is to deny, correct? I would urge everybody on council to carefully consider and to deny based on overconcentration in this neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gentleman from the 16th.
Yes, thank you. I serve as vice chair of licensing and permits, and I did vote against it in licensing and permits. Also, and I'll vote here tonight against it. That was my motion to deny. Mustafa runs a good grocery business, but as far as alcohol sales in the neighborhood, it's way over concentrated. Them coolers could be better served with some fresh food. Some people say there's a shortage of fresh food in the neighborhood. Well, there's the opportunity that he has to make money up rather than selling beer. With some discussion about the amounts, the pints, shorties, so on and so forth. Alcohol is alcohol. I'm not going to agree on a 6-pack rather than a 40-ouncer. Alcohol is alcohol. You just buy a 6-pack. So I urge my fellow council people to deny this application. He's planning on other businesses, and we'll certainly give him a fair shake and look at all of them. But this particular one, I certainly can't support it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gentleman from the third.
Thank you, Your Honor. My question is to the city attorney. Do we have any provision, given a liquor license, I'm not talking the difference between beer and liquor, but if we have a liquor license, to restrict the size of the liquor, bottles that are sold? Do we have even a provision for that in our ordinances?
There's nothing in the, there's nothing in the code that speaks to the size of the containers. The code is based upon Chapter 125. Chapter 125 permits sale of either fermented malt beverages, if you've got a Class A with the quotes around the A only, or for all types of spirits, if you have the quotes around the entire Class A phrase. But there is no provision related to the size of the container that the alcohol can be sold in.
Thank you. That kind of confirms what I believe. Somebody with the best of intentions saying, well, I will sign a document saying I will only sell this size of liquor, spirits, and I won't sell the shorties or the little bottles or anything like that. Well, that might be with the most sincerity and best of honesty intended, but I don't believe legally the city can even agree to that. So having said that, I agree with those who have spoken up with the alderperson of the district, the vice chairman of the license and permits. There's just too much liquor in that particular neighborhood. And this is something in that particular neighborhood that has been a battle that's gone on for years, and I mean many years. I mean, I remember this was one of the big bugaboos that our late Catherine Carpenter, Catherine Marks, oh man. Yeah, Catherine Marks. Well, Catherine Marks, I remember Catherine Carpenter too, who passed away also. But Catherine Marks, when she was alderperson in this area, this was her big bugaboo, wanting to reduce the number of liquor outlets in that particular neighborhood because she considered that a major problem in that neighborhood. So having said that, I'm pleased to have seconded it. And when we do vote, I hope we vote by roll call. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gentleman from the first.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to get clarification on the alderperson from the 12th's comments. I'll turn the floor to her. She made a comment at the end that she was not going to support the motion, but I believe she was mistaken. I think she does support the motion. I think she did not support the motion to approve, but to deny. She just clarify that so we all can have that on the record. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
And from the 12th, would you like to clarify that?
Yeah,
Motion on the floor right now is to deny based on
that is a motion I
overconcentration.
support. I am not supporting the motion to approve.
Okay.
But
So you're
the
supportive
motion
of the motion on the floor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. And lady from the 8th.
Thank you. I was one of the alders that stopped and saw Mustafa at his store, which is a very nice store. And I explained to him that I had planned on supporting the license based on the recommendation of the committee and the approval of the alderperson. Seeing tonight that the alderperson has changed her mind, thus changes the committee's approval, I will be supporting the motion to deny.
Okay, thank you. And gentleman from the 17th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also spoke to Mr. Mustafa, the applicant, and after a brief conversation and watching a license and permit meeting, I was in support of giving him a license based on the fact that he had indicated to me that there was some special agreement to not sell small pints or bottles. And then after doing some further research, I found out that document, as a president of the council reiterated through legal, that document doesn't exist. There's no way to enforce it. I mean, gentleman's agreement doesn't really count in this situation. So with the alderperson of the district voting against it, then I will be changing my support and not voting. I'll be voting in favor of not supporting the application. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gentleman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will not be in support of the motion that's on the floor. I think that all the conversations that we had around this has been very productive, very helpful. There is a concern and a vision on where that neighborhood is going. And those who believe that alcohol does not contribute to that vision, I definitely understand that. I will say that my vote in committee and my no vote here is to give a vision on how we can sell alcohol differently in that neighborhood. The council president and the alderperson of 17th spoke on there is no ordinance provision, and that's absolutely correct. There is no ordinance provision. However, the alderperson, former alderperson of the 8th District, Alderman Catherine Marks, myself on Copo do Aurora on 52nd Street and 38th Avenue. There can be a voluntary agreement, and that voluntary agreement, once, if anything goes against that voluntary agreement, you can assign discretionary points. I'd asked through the mayor to the city attorney, have we ever entered into those kinds of agreements before?
You're taxing my memory, but I'm gonna do my best to remember. I think that there was an agreement with regard to a business on 52nd Street. I think some of the things related to, I think it was, no, it wasn't a carryout store. I think it was
It was not.
a sit-down store. And we did have some agreements, a written document that talked about advertisements and types of promotions, those sorts of things. The question asked of me originally was there anything in the
No, I think that was the correct answer.
state statute or the ordinance? And there is nothing in there.
Absolutely.
There also is no agreement to date. Nobody's talked to me about drafting an agreement. I did speak with Deputy City Attorney Brian Cherbosian this morning about this because he thought there was going to be some discussion. And at that point in time, he had said there had been some discussion about a potential agreement, but nothing had been drafted. I think that a business which makes representations with respect to what type of business they intend to run, how they intend to run it, and if they put those sorts of things into writing, I don't think statutorily there's a basis to revoke it if they violate that, because once they have the license, they can sell whatever size of beverage they choose to sell as long as it's permitted by the state statute. We cannot change
Right.
provisions of Chapter 125. Having said that, if they represent that they're going to be a grocery store and sell primarily one thing versus another and those sorts of things, and the business were to turn out to be something substantially different than that, there is the ordinance does provide that they present a truthful application for your consideration, and depending upon when or how they change their business model, you certainly could consider that down the road in terms of licensing review and potential
Thank you.
discretionary demerit points.
Thank you, sir. So while we do not have by ordinance that provision, we have entertained this kind of thing before. As the city attorney stated, it has not been with a carryout establishment, it's been with a bar. Both times, I believe it was with a bar. Again, I'm going to walk you through something here. When I first moved into the 10th District on 29th Avenue, I'd go to Lencey's on 22nd and 45th Street. And Lencey's, you could get They had a great deli counter. They had fresh produce. It was a little store that served the neighborhood. You walk into Lencey's today, or into whatever it's called today, it is lots of alcohol, small bottles, half pints, pints, all kinds of drug paraphernalia. It no longer serves that community. It serves it serves those who drink alcohol and those who use the drug paraphernalia. I could envision Momo's establishment going the same way, with the exception of his word and his commitment to the neighborhood. That is why I tried to introduce a different vision on how to sell alcohol in this neighborhood. Sealed packs. Sealed packs are not just carry-out six-packs. We did this, Save-A-Lot voluntarily went into that agreement when they got their alcohol license. And when I did find open packs there, I called the owner, and the owner had those removed, and he said it was a mistake by the distributor. So this is not something that's brand new. This is not something that the alderman of the 10th district has made up in some feverish dream. It is a way that if we're going to start talking about alcohol sales, how do we start doing it differently, especially considering the reputation of some of those establishments in the district who have not been responsible to the district. So I just want to explain what my yes vote was in committee. I still believe that we need to talk about a vision on how to sell alcohol in that community that is not detrimental. And that was what my vote is then, and why I'm going to not support the motion now. Thank you for their time.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? If not, motion on the floor is to deny. Oh, you're still on. You want to say anything? Okay. Motion on the floor is to deny, as was stated by the gentleman from the 16th. I heard a roll call being requested, so roll call. Motion on the floor is to deny.
Motion carries 13-3. C7, renewal applications for kennel, humane, and pet shop licenses with no adverse recommendations from the police department. A, Apollo's Doggy Daycare, Inc., B, Joe's Exotic Birds, C, Kindred Kitties, D, Petco Animal Supply Stores, Inc., E, Paparazzi Palace, LLC, F, Somi Pet Supplies, Inc., G, Wisconsin Humane Society, Inc., Kenosha Campus, H, The Pet Crew Grooming Garage, LLC.
Gentleman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to approve C7 through C11 after being read any necessary applicant hearings.
C8, renewal applications for a secondhand article dealer license with no adverse recommendations from the police department. A, Brick Eye, Inc., B, CD Warehouse Corp., C, Coliseum Games, LLC, D, Flatiron Vintage, LLC, E, G&T Financial, LLC, F, Ilia's Divine Boutique, LLC, G, JB Coins and Bullion, 3, LLC, H, Brian Johnson, I, Keynote, Inc., J, Christopher Rulin, K, Revival Room Resale, LLC, L, Comfort Treasures, LLC. C9, renewal applications for a secondhand jewelry dealer license with no adverse recommendations from the police department. A, G&T Financial, LLC, B, Naushad P. Irani. C10, renewal applications for a pawnbroker license with no adverse recommendations from the police department. A, G&T Financial, LLC. C11, renewal applications for massage establishment licenses with no adverse recommendations from the police department. A, Asian Spa IL, Inc., B, Barbie Clark, C, Beth T. Kelly, D, Body Relaxation Massage Therapy, LLC. E, Debbie C. Gibbs. F, Daewon Tang, G, Dirk Ingram, H, JY Spa, Inc., I, Ivy Spa, Inc., J, Kenosha Spa, Inc., K, Kim M. Sly, L, Meet Busy Spa, Inc., M, Sharifa Howe, and Zhufan Yu.
Okay, at this time, open up to a hearing. Anyone here to speak on items C7 through C11, please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone here to speak on C7 through C11? Anyone here to speak? Anyone here to speak? Seeing none, close the hearing. Motion on the floor was concurrence, Mr. Chair? Gentleman from the 7th.
I need to abstain on C11. I don't know, what is the second
B
one
as in
down?
boy?
Yeah,
B?
B as in boy. You got it.
Okay. Any other alderpersons? Seeing none. Motion on the floor is concurrence. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The gentleman from the 7th abstained on C11B.
H, zoning ordinances, second reading. H1, zoning ordinance by the mayor to create subsection 18.02 TTTTT of the zoning ordinance to amend the corridor land use plan as referenced in the comprehensive plan for the city of Kenosha 2035.
Gentleman from the 3rd.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move to approve H1 after any public hearing.
Moving to second to approve item H1. At this time, open it up to a public hearing. Anyone here to speak on item H1, please come forward, state your name and address. Oh, sorry.
Stephen Rosenich, Bear Development, 4011 80th Street, just here for questions.
Good. Thank you, sir. Anyone else here to speak on item H1? Anyone else here to speak? Anyone else? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Motion on the floor is approval of item H1. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Roll call, please.
Motion carries 15-1. I, resolutions. I-1, resolution by the Committee on Finance to levy special charges upon various parcels of property located in the city. A, property maintenance reinspection fees from October 2025, $5,660. Finance recommended to approve 5-0.
Gentleman from the 13th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to concur with the Finance Committee recommendations on I-1 through I-5 after being read on all hearings.
I-2, resolution by the mayor to place special assessments against benefited parcels of property on the 2025 real estate tax roll for delinquent stormwater bills in an amount not to exceed $419,176.86. Finance recommended to approve 5-0. I-3, resolution by the mayor approving project plan amendment for tax incremental district number 19, city of Kenosha, Wisconsin, and making certain findings with respect thereto. Finance recommended to approve 5-0. I-4, resolution by the mayor to approve a 3-lot certified survey map for property located on 50th Street between 47th Avenue and 52nd Avenue. I-5, resolution by the mayor to authorize by resolution use of city equipment for the downtown Kenosha Park Up Party 2025.
Okay, at this time, I'll open it up to a hearing. Anyone here speaking on item I-1 or I-3? Please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone here speak on I-1 or I-3? Anyone here speak? Seeing none, close the hearing. Motion on the floor is approval of I-1 through I-5. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Roll call, please. Bless you.
Motion carries. J, appointments, reappointments by the mayor. J1, appointment of Rajiv Singh to the Kenosha Lakeshore Business Improvement District Board of Directors to fill a term that will begin November 19, 2025 and will expire November 18, 2028.
Motion by anybody?
Make a motion to approve J1, J2, and J3.
Second. Please continue.
J2, appointment of Chuck Nelson to the Kenosha Lakeshore Business Improvement District Board of Directors to fill a term that will begin November 19, 2025 and will expire November 18, 2028. J3, appointment of Alderperson Rex Davenport to the Finance Committee for a term which expires at the conclusion of his aldermanic term.
Okay, motion on the floor is approval of J1 through J3. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Roll call, please.
Motion carries 16-0. L, other contracts and agreements. L1, addendum to professional services agreement with Mandlik and Roads Information Systems, Inc. for processing of yard waste coupons. Finance recommended to approve 5-0.
Gentleman from the 13th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to concur with the Finance Committee recommendations on items L1 through M1 after being read.
L2, contract to raise structure and restore lot at 1805 63rd Street between the City of Kenosha and New Berlin Grading, Inc. in the amount of $182,252. Finance recommended to approve 5-0. L3, purchase of services contract by and between the City of Kenosha, Wisconsin and Carepool Innovation, Inc. Finance recommended to approve 5-0. Transit recommended to approve 4-0. L4, notice to exercise option to extend lease agreement by and between the City of Kenosha, Wisconsin and Gateway Technical College for Keela. Finance recommended to approve 5-0. M, recommendations from the Committee on Finance. Disbursement record number 20, $9,255,619.39.
Okay, motion on the floor is concurrence on L1 through M1. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Roll call, please.
Motion carries 16-0. P, and such matters as are authorized by law or regular business. P1, continued membership in class action lawsuit regarding generic drug prices. Finance recommendation was to opt in 5-0.
Gentleman from the 13th.
Move to concur with the Finance Committee recommendation on P1.
It's been moved and seconded to concur with finance on P1. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Roll call, please.
Motion carries 16-0. P2, membership in class action lawsuit regarding excessive credit card fees. Finance recommended to opt in 5-0.
Gentleman from the 13th.
Move to concur with the Finance Committee recommendation on P2.
Moved and seconded to concur with finance. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Hoggard. Motion carries 16-0.
Okay, mayor's comments, just one. Congratulations to our new alderperson in the 4th District. The real fun begins now. Just a few meetings we have this month, so he came at a good time. So again, welcome, congratulations. And I think as everyone said at our last meeting, we continue to pledge our support to you as you navigate getting your onboarding and everything else that's going on. Welcome aboard, sir, and if you need anything, we're here. Alderperson's comments. Gentleman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. While I am always excited to have the citizenry here to share their viewpoints with us, I do want to set the record straight in reference to the Kenosha Water Utility. You are more than welcome to come to our Board of Water Utility meetings. You're more than welcome to come and speak to the director of the water utility. I will put our water utility up against any other entity in the city of Kenosha, in the state of Wisconsin, et cetera, et cetera. And the comment was, we cannot trust the Kenosha Water Utility because of the water quality on the lake. If you knew the dedication, the amount of work, the amount of passion our Kenosha Water Utility people have for the job they do, it's not, it's almost not a job. It's like a calling. And to that person who made that comment, I would just invite you to engage with me. I would love to show you the water utility and the mission that they do so that you'll have a clearer understanding of what these people do to serve our community. And I will not allow anyone to disparage their effort and their reputation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gentleman from the 3rd.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to second what the gentleman from the 10th has said, and I also concur with the mayor's comment to welcome Mr. Davenport. You're being thrown into the deep end right now, and I believe you know how to swim. But I want to talk about, we got a lot of unsung heroes in Kenosha, neighborhood heroes. We had an unusual and unexpected snowfall early this November. By me, we got well over a foot of snow. And I want to just say, a lot of citizens have stepped up and helped push their neighbors out who got their cars stuck, even helped push out their mail trucks, who when the mail trucks got stuck, and have helped clear the walks on their neighbors as well as their own. You know, they've gone down the street 2 or 3 houses down, made it accessible for the mail carriers and everybody else. I'm not saying that these people would be glorified by the term of hero, but you guys, you know who you are. And I'm going to express my deep thanks to all of you in this city who have stepped up to help out with that unexpected snowfall. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gentleman from the 14th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to address the issue that was brought up by the constituents. And first of all, I want to thank the constituents that showed up tonight and expressed their concerns about anything going on in the city. But one thing I do want to address is the issue that was raised about the lack of transparency. And I want to address that because even in my short time as alderperson, I have come to see the amount of transparency that happens in this administration and the efforts that have been taken to make things more accessible to the public. Today, for example, I had an opportunity to share how city government works with some Parkside and Carthage students. Our very own mayor, city administrator, and chief of police took out time out their day to share that information with those students at a moment's notice. I think we had about a couple weeks of notice of putting that on the mayor's schedule, and it got done. So when it comes to speaking on transparency, everything that we do is open to the public. Things have been disseminated on social media. The city has made it apparent that a YouTube channel has been made. These meetings have been live. So I urge the citizens not to think that the city or elected officials are trying to hide anything, but to find the information because it's there. And if there's ever an issue where you can't find the information, it's always there. Just continue to look. And I think that, again, I want to thank the administration for doing a great job in making that information known. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Seeing no more lights, a motion to adjourn on your laptop would be in order. Moving to second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Yeah. We stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody.